Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar about Elevate, the Elevate platform. My name is Kat Duco, and I'm a key account manager at the Myers-Briggs Company. I work alongside my colleague, Tom Leary. So I think some of you on the call work directly with Tom, some of you work directly with me, but we're both able to assist you with one-on-one Elevate questions following this webinar. I will keep everybody on mute for this. If you do have a question throughout the webinar, there's a questions box in your GoToWebinar side panel. So please just feel free to post questions as they come up. I'll try to keep an eye on it so that we can answer them in the moment. But if I miss it for any reason, I'll come back at the end. So I'll try to save some time for questions at the end here. Okay, so for today, what I'm going to cover is basically just some usual functions within Elevate. There are some more complex tasks that can be done within Elevate as well. And again, Tom and I are always here to assist you. So if something unusual comes up in your experience with Elevate, please feel free to reach out to us and we can walk you through that one-on-one. So I'll take you through some general functions first, which can be found in the account drop down. So if you click on account, there's some different features in here. I'm going to start on account management. And this is where you can set some preferences for the entire Elevate site. For example, MBTI assessment preferences. You'll notice there's quite a few different versions of the MBTI tool on Elevate. There's the Form M and Form Q, which I think most people are familiar with or were certified in. There's the MBTI Global Assessment, which is our latest version of the MBTI. And sorry, I'm just realizing perhaps you can't see my screen. Let me just share my screen. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me start over with that. And thank you for pointing that out to me. Okay, so when you log into Elevate, you're first going to see this dashboard. In the upper right-hand corner is an account dropdown. And if you click on account management and then MBTI preferences, that's where you can see the different versions. So apologies for my technical issue there. Okay, so there's a bunch of different versions, as I mentioned, the Form M and Form Q, which most of you might have been certified in. There's the Global Assessment, which is the latest version, and there's also a European assessment, which I don't think is used too often in this part of the world. Are you guys seeing my screen now? Sorry, just want to make sure. I've got another question coming up. Oh, no, okay, I see. You're seeing my notes. All right, hang on a second. Show screen, and then I'll start this again. Okay, how about this? Okay, good. Sorry, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so where I went was account management, and then I clicked MBTI assessment preferences. So it'll show 6 different variations of the MBTI versions, and you can select what you want to appear to your clients or what you're going to administer to your clients. The default will always be step 2 for every variation, for every version. And that is because the step 1 is embedded in the step 2. So your clients will complete that assessment regardless. It also gives you some more flexibility as far as reporting. So depending on what reports you want to generate for your clients, if you have them take the step 2, you have all options available versus the step 1, you can only generate step 1 reports. So that's why it defaults to step 2, but you can change that for each of these if you want by just clicking save. You'll also be able to do that on a project by project basis. And I'll show you where that is as well. The other area that I wanted to show you in here is respondent site. So this is where you can add your own branding to what your respondents see, your participants see when they log in to take the assessment. So you can add your logo and you can add a personalized greeting as well. You can also include links to things, and this used to be hyperlinked, but you can hyperlink a video in for establishing the proper mindset if you like. You can add in information about when you're going to be following up with them. So there's some things you can put in there, and you can also preview what you set up. So it'll show you, and I think you can see this, yep, okay. It'll show you what your clients will see after you've added your logo and your greeting. Oh, and here you can see the hyperlinked text for the video, and my logo is appearing here. Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you in account is the Myers-Briggs app. So if you do use the Myers-Briggs app, the licenses are managed separate to a project. So again, it'll be under account, Myers-Briggs app. And when you have licenses to assign, you'll be able to enter your clients' names and email addresses. That will send them a personalized link for accessing the app. You can also upload a large list of clients from a project or from a CSV file. And finally, in here, the last thing I wanted to point out was inventory and download library. So this is where you can keep track of what you've purchased. Inventory within Elevate doesn't expire. So if you purchase a large quantity of reports or support booklets, they'll just remain in your inventory until you use them. And there are volume discounts available for reports and support materials. You'll also see on the right-hand side, there's a download library. So if you have a support material, I don't have an example here, but if you purchase support materials like a booklet and you want a copy for yourself, there will be an orange download button like you see here will appear next to this. That disappears once you add it to your download library. So if there's no risk of you downloading it multiple times for yourself and using up your inventory, instead you can download it multiple times from your download library. So it's just a good little resource for you here with PDF booklets or a la carte activities. I do also want to note, because I know we have some Australian folks on the line here, there is a catalog, so you can order electronic products through Elevate. Unfortunately, this isn't available for New Zealand or Hong Kong customers yet. Hopefully that will be coming soon, but for now, if you're in New Zealand or Hong Kong, you will just need to email customer support in order to place your orders. If you're in Australia, you can use the catalog, and you'll notice there's a Your Products tab, which will be based on your previous purchases. There's also All Products, which is everything, and you can filter by language, product family, or product type to decrease the amount of results. It's also pretty smart, so if you just type in the beginning of a word even, it'll come up with different search or different results for that. Okay, where you're probably going to spend most of your time on Elevate is in projects and reports. And this dashboard is really where you maintain all of your client groups. So think of projects like file folders for your clients. It's just a way for you to keep them organized. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to create an invitation-only project. There's two different kinds of projects. There's invitation only, which means that you are pre-entering your client's information, and only those clients that you're entering into Elevate will be able to access the assessment link. So it's a way to protect the link. General access, it's easier to set up, and sometimes it might be the best option for you, but what it is just an open link that you can forward to all of your clients, and they could in turn forward it to other people. So just something to keep in mind with general access. You might want to pay attention a bit more to who's actually completing the assessment before you generate their reports. So my kids are into My Little Pony these days, so I'm going to create a My Little Pony invitation only project. The project name will be visible to your clients. the project description is optional and only you can see that. So if you wanted to add any notes, you could add notes in there and your clients won't see it. You can also add an expiration date. So if you wanted to expire the assessment links at any point in time, you can set that. You can also just leave it blank. Okay, so with an invitation only project, the first step will be to add respondents. So I'm just going to add a few ponies here. You'll see that there's an option to select a type. And that would be if for some reason you're working with a client who already knows their 4-letter type, you can add that in. But otherwise you would just leave it blank for most clients. Okay, so add in my 3 clients and click next. The next step is to add the report. So this is telling Elevate what assessment to assign to my clients based on the report that I want to generate. It defaults to the Your Reports tab, which is based on what I have inventory of, but I can also go to All Reports and I can search for what I want. I can filter by report family and language as well. So let's say I just want, oops, I'm putting in the wrong letter, interpretive report for organizations. So here is where you'll really want to pay attention to what form you're selecting. So let's say I want a different one. This one. So I want interpretive report for organizations form M. And here you can see it pops over to the right-hand side and it'll show what assessment my clients will be asked to take. Right now it's set to form Q. So again, if I didn't change that in the account preferences, I can do it here as well. And I could save this selection for future projects too, or I can just leave it for this project. And that will now switch it to the form M is being administered. Let's say I wanted 2 different languages. So I say I want traditional Chinese as well. I'd really need to be cautious that I'm choosing, if I'm putting 2 different reports in here of MBTI as an example, I'd really want to make sure that this doesn't change, that I'm not adding another assessment. For instance, if I added global, you'll notice it'll add the global assessment too. So all of my clients in this project would get a link to take both versions. So you definitely want to be cautious of what you're choosing when you add things, add reports to your project. And particularly if you want multiple languages. So if you have some clients who you want to print reports in English and some in a different language, then you would want to be cautious that they're only going to get that one assessment link no matter what language you're going to generate for them. All right, so I've got my reports in there. I'm going to click next. And the next screen is options. So with invitation only projects, you have an option to auto generate reports. This is not available for general access. And that's really just to protect your inventory since general access is an open link. Auto generate reports, you would need to pre-purchase the reports that you're using in order for this to work well. If you forget that step, you forget to pre-purchase, your clients will still be able to take the assessment. The assessment itself is free for them to take. It's just the reports that you need to pay for. So if you have auto-generate reports selected, but you haven't purchased the inventory, your clients will go through without any issues, but you'll just get an email that says you need to purchase reports rather than having the report attached. So just make sure for this to work well for you that you do pre-purchase. If you select no for auto generate, then this option comes up of notifying of assessment completion. So you can say, yes, I want to receive a notification. And that's just your cue that you can log into Elevate and download their results. You can also customize report covers. This doesn't include any graphics or images. It's really just words. So you can add in your consulting or your company name. We have company initials here as well, which I guess because we were formerly CPP, we're sensitive to, but most people just leave that blank. And then you can also add in your name as the practitioner. And you can save that for future projects if you would like. Or you can choose not to customize the report covers. So either way works. The assessment reminder. This is a really great time saver for you, an administrative step saved. You can set one automated assessment reminder per project, and this is only for invitation only. Well, really, it only makes sense for invitation only. There is the option for general access projects as well, but with it being an open link, it doesn't always make sense. So this is really helpful if you have a set workshop date and you want to remind people to log in and take the assessment if they haven't yet already completed it. So it will only go out to those who haven't yet completed it on your specified date. So you can choose the time, and if you just start typing Australia, it usually comes up with some options. So you can choose your time zone. You'll also be able to edit the reminder email that's going to be deployed. And the final option here is the demographic survey. This is essentially for our research purposes for future versions of the MBTI. So our research team would love for you to keep this enabled. It just asks some optional demographic questions like how long have you been at your job or what's your nationality. There's a lot of things in there that can be sensitive as well. So you can either keep it enabled and let your clients know it's all optional, it's all encrypted. No one can see it except for the client themselves and our research team. And when our research team sees it, it's anonymous anyway. So we encourage you to keep it on, especially for this side of the world where we're working to collect more data. But you can turn it off if you have sensitive groups and you just don't want to scare them. And then the final step will be the invitation email that will be deployed to the client group as soon as you're ready to send it. This can be edited as well, the subject, body, and signature. You can select to be notified when it's sent out. So if you schedule it at a later date, for instance, say you want to send it tomorrow instead, you can send it tomorrow and schedule it, or you can hit send now. And all that's going to do is just send an email out to your client groups or your clients with the assessment link. Okay, I'm just checking questions. Doesn't look like any have come through. That's good. So now what I'm going to do is show you how to manage your project. So I'm just going to click manage this project. You can also get there by going to the projects plus reports dashboard and clicking on the project name. So it will default here to the view summary. So if you're working with an organization that has strict firewall settings, or there's a possibility that they might not receive the email because it does come from no reply at the Myers-Briggs.net. You can come into view summary and copy the link here and send it out in your own email. So that's just another way to get the link to them. You can also see quickly at a glance who's accessing the project, who's taking their assessment. And down here, and I think this appears as well for our New Zealand and Hong Kong customers, in Australia, you can add to cart and proceed to checkout. I think add to cart still appears for New Zealand and Hong Kong, but unfortunately those buttons just don't work right now. But at least it will show you what inventory you have remaining, and you can see if you're going to be at a deficit. So it gives you a good overview of what you need to order. I do want to note that inventory is not assigned to a specific project. It's site-wide, so it would be applied to all projects. So if you're sharing your site with another practitioner in your organization, for instance, everyone has access to the same bucket of inventory. So that's something to keep in mind if you do share an Elevate site. The Manage Respondents and Download Reports tabs will show you your respondents and their progress with taking the assessment. This is the same assessment, even though there's two different reports in different languages. But so once Applejack, for instance, completes their assessment, this will show completed on both lines, and there will be options to download reports or email reports. Okay, let's see. I do want to note here too, you can add respondents individually or from a CSV file. So if there's someone that you forgot, you can add them in on the fly. You could also, let's say we know Fluttershy's type, just add her in like that. And there is an edit email invitation. You can edit it again here. But as soon as you click add, it will send the assessment invitation to that client. So just be wary of when you're adding them in. But because I added her verified type, it'll show that she's done. So we just need step 1 report. So all we really need is the verified type. And now I can download her report or email her report. Okay. And also here's where you can edit to verify type. So you can do that if somebody knows their type, they're confident in their type, or following your assessment debrief or group workshop, you would come in here and verify their type for them. A question just came through. Do they only receive the report if you email it to them? Yes. There is one exception to that, and that would be, and I'll show you an example here. So if we add a report, I'm going to add the MBTI global. Let's say, let me search global here, get the right one. I don't want step 2. Interpretive. There. Okay, so if I add a global report, did I add the step 2? Well, anyway, I'll show you here. So I've added a global report. So global MBTI has an extra option available. So if you go to options, and this would happen as you're creating the project as well, this option would appear if you choose a global MBTI report. There's a give respondents access to reports option. Now this sounds really scary, but what this means is that after you have verified the client's type, like I just showed you, then they would be able to download their report, but only after you verify their type. And that's done through the respondent site, which I'll show you after we go through the rest of the practitioner site. But otherwise, they won't see it. And you can also just say no, that you don't want them to have access to that. So that's an option only with the global MBTI reports, not with any other MBTI reports. And again, they only will be able to download it after you've gone in and verified their type. Otherwise, they don't get any email with their report. Once they've completed the assessment, they just get a little check mark saying they've completed it. Hopefully that was clearing that up for you. Okay, so we've added reports. Another thing that you can do in here is add support booklets. So let's say you want to include introduction to Myers-Briggs type with this project as well. You can add it in, and then this appears, which looks also scary. It looks like you're going to email it right away and you might not be ready to. It actually won't. It's just going to take you to the area where you could if you wanted to email the support booklet. So typically practitioners will wait until after clients have completed their assessment before they send the booklets. So if they have completed it, you could check to email the support booklets. And this will just alert the respondent, your participant, that they have something to download in their respondent site. So all of this is editable as well before you hit send. As soon as you hit send, it will subtract from your inventory. If you don't have enough inventory, it's going to let you know that you just need to make a purchase. Okay, and then it will tell you if they've downloaded it or not. So you'll be able to tell. Okay, the last thing I thought might be helpful, especially for MBTI practitioners on the line here, is if you're working with groups and you want to use a team report. So with that, you would have to go into add reports and support booklets if you don't add it up front, and put in the MBTI team report. This works best if you're administering also the Form M, Step 1 Form M version. It can also be done with the global version. There's just a little bit more administrative stuff you have to do, but we can help with that if that comes up. So I've added in the team report. I'm going to click to save. And now if I look at my project, there's going to be an additional tab that appears for managing teams. So I go to manage a team. What you do here is you're going to select your team members. And actually, I need to verify someone else's type in order to do this. So let me go back to my manage respondents section. I'm just going to verify a type in here. So you need at least 3 people to do a team report. Is it saving it? Let me just refresh my screen here. Okay, so once you have at least 3 respondents, and ideally you do want them to have verified their type with you, the team report is unforgiving in that once you generate it, you cannot make changes to it. So even if someone verifies a different type and you try to reprint the team report, it's going to show whatever type was originally input in the system for verified type or their reported type. So it kind of just sticks. Whenever you run it, it sticks to that. All right, so we'll name the team. The team report can only be generated in North American English right now. So I don't know why it has that option, but this is the last chance to edit the team. If I had other team members in here, I could click edit and swap team members that were going to be in this team. It's slowing down on me here, sorry. I can also change the team name and remove team members. So you can edit everything up until the point that you download the report. And you can also remove it, as you can see here. So here, if I had other team members that could be added, they would show up over here and I could swap people out, but I need at least 3 to generate this report. There is another report if you only have like a team of 2, you just have a pair that you want to compare. We have a comparison report that just looks at 2 people. So that's another option. But as soon as you download that report, it's locked in place and you won't be able to do any more edits. So now it'll still show an edit button, but all that's referring to is the team name. That's the only thing I'll be able to change. When you download reports, this little screen will pop up over here and they'll download as a zip file. Let me bring that up. So you'll see everybody's different reports in here. There's also one that's the title of the team report, and that's a team facilitator report. So that just comes with your purchase of team reports. Okay. All right, so that's basically it as far as the administrator site. So again, you're going to be spending most of your time in the projects plus reports and then managing these various actions. And account is really where you're going to set up the settings that you want for your whole site. So as I mentioned, the respondent site and MBTI preferences at the beginning. So now what I'll show you is what a respondent site looks like, so what your clients will see. And a lot of you may remember this from when you've gone through the certification program. You took the assessment. Oh, this might be a bad one now. Let me try Harry Potter. You took the assessment through this respondent site. So first thing I want to point out is that your respondents can take the assessments in their preferred language. And we do recommend you always tell people take it in the language you're most comfortable with. These are all available for the MBTI. If you're using other tools, there might be limitations to which translations are available. But the site will tell you if you pick something that's not a translation available for the assessment. But if you click to translate that, it'll translate as much as it can on the page. That excludes the personalized greeting and your logo, but everything else will be translated, including the assessment itself. This does not impact the language of the report that you're going to generate. So this is just for the client to take the assessment and have the best chance of getting the most accurate results because they're taking it in their native language. All right, so I'm switching back to English just so I know what I'm doing here. The other thing I wanted to point out, so in this case, Harry Potter has not yet completed his assessment. And you'll see there's this Learn tab up here, which you can disable in your practitioner site if you want, but it doesn't show anything until your clients complete the assessment. So that's just something I want to point out. It does have some good information once they complete the assessment, and even more information once you verify their type in the system. And just to show you an example of that, I'll go to good old Han Solo. He's in several of my projects. Okay, and you'll notice with Han Solo, I have verified his type in the system, so it's telling him right here what he is, and he can learn more about his own type. There's some free downloads, and again, all of this is content that you can disable if you don't want them to have access to this. There's also just some general information. This would appear after he's completed the MBTI. This only appears after you have verified it in your administrator site. And you'll see the other area. So if you do use support booklets in PDF, this is where it will appear for your clients. They'll log in, they'll have their assessments that they can take, if any. This one shows completed. And they'll also have this downloadable items tab where they can get the booklet, or as mentioned with the global MBTI, if you do enable them to have access to it after you verify their type, they can download their global MBTI reports. Okay, and I think I missed that last time because I was not sharing my screen well. So let me just pop back into my administrator site. And I'll show you where that is. The Learn tab is under Account, Account Management, Respondent Site. And at the very bottom, this is where you can turn off that Learn tab. So if you click Do Not Allow, they won't see any of that learning experience. Okay. The last thing that I want to point out, and then I'll just open it up to any questions, is that on our website, and we'll send out links. Tom and I will send out links to all of you to this. You don't have to track it down, but on this fourth dot is a link to Elevate. And if you scroll to the bottom of this page, there's a link to self-service tutorials. So this is just an area where we've pre-recorded videos of different actions within Elevate. There's also just FAQ documents. So whether you learn by watching or reading and doing yourself, there's different ways for you to practice these different functions within Elevate. So again, Tom and I will follow up with all of you, and we'll send a link to this page. You don't have to track it down. And hopefully that's helpful to you if you ever need help after hours. But otherwise, as I mentioned earlier, Tom and I are always here to connect with you one-on-one. So if you need help with a specific project and setting that up, or again, if there's something out of the ordinary that you're trying to do, we can help with that as well. So just feel free to reach out anytime. Okay, and are there any questions? And feel free to type it in your questions box. I'm just keeping an eye on that. Okay, nothing's coming through. So hopefully that means I gave a fairly clear presentation. But if questions do come up, and I do know that sometimes it just happens as you're using the site, if questions do come up as you're in the midst of creating a project or downloading reports or anything, please feel free to reach out. We're always happy to help. And again, there's Tom and I. We also have an awesome customer support team, and all of us are really well versed in Elevate, so just feel free to reach out with any questions. So I'll hang on here for another couple minutes in case anything comes up, but I really appreciate your time today, and hopefully this was helpful to you. We'd love your feedback too, so let us know if this is something you think we should continue offering. Thank you, everyone.